So for those who have kept with me till now, when did Moshe split the sea? The Reed Sea, when the Jews left Egypt. And so we're having a eureka moment now where we now know where we are going in terms of the relationship of this idea to this parsha. So there are several questions here. And these are brought in the commentaries. On the one hand, the river, brings a convincing argument. He will change his nature as the dialogue goes, assuming that he can do that. And here commentators say Pinchas ben Yair may be speaking to the spiritual force behind the water. Others write that he is constructing a debate. He wants and needs something supernatural to happen for the laws of nature to be set aside for him to free these captives. And he is, in a sense, constructing both sides of the argument, what the water could say, what he could say. But I love telling it just the way it says, and we'll leave that for now. So what the water says is, water was created to flow. If I stop doing that, I've suspended God's creation of water with its inherent nature. Will you free the captives or not? So why does your mitzvah take precedence over my mitzvah? So the great commentator Shmuel Edels, the Maharsha, explains that although, yes, there is a kind of divine fiat, as you will, a command for water to flow, but the water is not doing that as a function of free will. And commandments that are fulfilled by people are a function of their free will. They choose to do them, they rise to the challenge, and those will always take precedence over those fulfilled by nature, so to speak, which are not bound by free will. And yet we don't see that Pinchas ben Yair says this. He doesn't address the argument at all. It would seem, instead he says, what seems to be an ultimatum, if you don't do this, there's going to be not any more water flowing. This question is answered in a very interesting Hasidic work. The second leader of the Hasidic movement, Dov Bera Mezrich, the primary student of the Baal Shem Tov, explains it in the following way. And here we come to our message, in a sense, of how it works, that the fulfillment of God's commandments becomes the driving force as to how nature will function. Yes, nature should function the way it was created to, generally speaking. But we read in our parsha that after the Jews pass through, the Egyptian army then comes. They are overcome with the waters, which tumble down. The miracle of the splitting of the Reed Sea comes to an end. And it says that they return, Vayashav le'etano. Etan means strength. It's a Hebrew name, it means strength. It seems to be superfluous. We say the waters returned. We know now that they are no longer standing. They are now flowing again. And so the Talmud says we're being given an implicit message hidden in the words le'etano, in which the letters can be transposed. And it says litana'o, which means in Hebrew to its stipulation. What stipulation is being referred to? So the Talmud explains that at the time of creation, when every natural phenomenon was created with its own nature, water was created to flow, and yet at that time already, God said that when the time comes that you would have to split in order to allow the Jewish people in their exodus to flee from the pursuing Egyptians, if you will do so, all is fine and well. But if not, then the condition for your existence is annulled, and you will be returned to nothingness. What does this mean? So actually, it's a wonderful explanation of how we combine the legalistic and symbolic aspects of the Talmud, because a condition like this works retroactively. So just like in a sale, it's not that that becomes canceled because the condition is not fulfilled. It's not that it becomes canceled from now onwards, but it retroactively the whole sale is canceled. And so too, if the water does not fulfill the stipulation of allowing the Jewish people to complete their exodus by going through the Reed Sea, the condition that was stipulated for its creation is annulled, its creation is annulled, and retroactively it doesn't exist. And this is what Pinchas ben Yair is saying. He is saying that this is not a threat. Now this is the time for Pidyon Shurim. I have a commandment to free a captive, which, like all commandments, but especially this one, which has powerful symbolic significance. This is the purpose of creation. So you were created in order for these mitzvahs to be fulfilled. If you do not enable me to fulfill the divine commandment, in that case, the stipulation for your existence becomes annulled. Your existence becomes retroactively also canceled, and there is no river, and therefore no waters to flow in it. So it wasn't a threat, he was stating a fact. That the existence of nature is dependent and conditional upon the fulfillment of the commandments, as the first verse in the Torah says, Bereshit bara Elokim, and Rashi explains there that Beit Bereshit, two things that are called firsts, beginnings. One is the Torah, one is Israel. The world was created for Israel to keep the Torah. If it helps us, all is fine. However, if there is a seeming conflict between the worldly existence and the fulfillment of the commandments, the fulfillment of the commandments must always be victorious and overcome the nature which must be set aside. And hence we have the basis for miracles in the Torah.